Artie's podcast, WATP.
I can't believe how he pulls this off, but Stuttering John, it's almost like it's a bit, but it's not. It can't possibly be a bit, but it has to be. Does that make any sense?
Well,
am I making any sense right now?
You know what you mean. You've been saying it forever.
John starts off his show completely unprepared every single time in the same way. Every single time. It's fucking nuts. And yesterday's show was no exception.
Hi, everybody. Typical. Move this whole fucking thing over. Damn it. There's that fucking... I gotta get this thing better set up. How are you, everybody?
The green screen is half off. He's not centered. He doesn't have any headspace. Like every fucking time this happens. How is that possible? How does he never look at himself before hitting go?
And this is not performative, John.
No, this is
when he's chewing,
John.
And doing that shit.
No, this is not. I don't think this is a bit. This is flustered.
No, because he can't act this well.
Right. So Cardiff did potato soup Sunday night.
Yes.
And this is John's show reacting to that. So John comes down on Memorial Day, and Cardiff, the way he was promoting this is he goes, we found the Lost Artie Lang show where John goes on and makes fun of his trans son. Because as we know, there is an episode of the Artie Lang show that was never uploaded to the internet because Dan Filata, who is the producer of Artie's show, double-checked with John after he got sober, said, John, you sure you want me to upload this? And John went, please don't. So it never was uploaded. Because Dan Filata was a good guy and said...
a little too much of a good guy, if you ask me.
For my sake, yes. But yeah, no. So he decided not to put the episode up because John said things that would be probably embarrassing for him and might cause issues with his family based on the goofs that he was making. But Cardiff found another show where John was on with Gino Bisconti on the Artie Lang show and was making tons of jokes about trans people and his son. And so John is taking this as a victory lap because it wasn't the episode. So whatever the episode is that's lost is worse. And for some reason, John thinks that's a win for him.
It's amazing.
By the way, it has been confirmed. Dan Filata did not give the potato any tape. They lied to you, and you super chatted them. That is not the tape. So again, they try, but Dan is my friend, and that tape is gone. That was a different show. So there you go. So if you fell for it and super chatted them, good on you. But I don't really personally give a shit. Just so you do know,
you will,
that when my son came out as trans, we at those days he was okay with jokes. Now, of course not, but that was new. That was 10 years ago. So it's like,
what a piece of work this guy had. Justified. I don't even care. He talked about it for the first 20 minutes. All he does is talk about this. And I like the fact that he goes, and you guys super chatted the potato. He's so worried about other people's money all the time. You guys super chatted the potato, and it was false advertising. It wasn't even the episode where I said the worst stuff.
Which is admitting to that there's an episode out there. And also...
And he is worried about it because he obviously messaged Dan Filata, like, how the fuck did you give him this episode? And Dan's like, no, that's not the episode. Oh, okay. Yeah. He's very worried about it. Don't say you don't care, John. You obviously care.
He cares a lot.
Too much.
You guys have started the Living in the Past series.
Yes.
And this is one guy who lives in the past.
Yep.
But the rules are if it's some length of time in the past,
yep,
it doesn't count
okay.
anymore. So he doesn't want to live in the past.
Yeah. He justifies everything he's ever said by saying, well, I didn't know back then.
Right.
In fact, this is from the great Sheet Shitterson, who put this little compilation together that illustrates that point.
And let's face it, 10 years ago, nobody really knew what transgender was. I know I didn't. So what?
I want to point out, too, that this episode they were listening to was not 10 years ago. It was less than 10 years ago. But John is claiming, this is from this show, John claims, it was a different time. I didn't know. You didn't? That's weird.
And let's face it, 10 years ago, Nobody really knew what transgender was. I know I didn't.
So what it is, let's say, Artie, and I know this is very hard for you because this is not me and you, but let's say that all our lives, we felt that we were women, like inside with that we were women,
Right.
You know, but we always had to live up to this male thing. But even though we always felt that we were women,
And I upset the joke that I made when my kid told me that he was trans. I said, so you're an airline now. That was the joke that I made. And yes, now would I make that joke? No. But that's what I did then. Because I didn't even understand what transgender was. Now, of course, I understand it. I had no idea.
What a liar. There's proof right there. He explains it perfectly to Artie while he's still making jokes.
Yeah, that was actually kind of eloquent.
Yes. And I know. And this episode, Cardiff is here. I'm going to bring him on. This episode of Potato Soup is fantastic. If you haven't watched it, what's up, Cardiff?
Hey.
Hello. Members only.
If you haven't watched this episode, you should, because it illustrates the fact that John is making these jokes, and even Artie Lang, the Artie Lang, is going, whoa, hey, it's pretty offensive there.
Yeah, he was
even
quiet.
Yeah, Artie pumped the brakes on him a couple times.
Artie was pumping the brakes on him.
I do want to add some context, and I want to defend. I wasn't grifting anyone. I wasn't.
I know that.
The grift was during the show. I think the great Dennis Michaels chatted. Let's all tweet to Dan Filato saying that Dan Filato, or let's all tweet to John that Dan Filato gave Cardiff this tape.
Oh, poor Dan.
So
he doesn't want to be part of this
Dan-
shit.
That's why Dan got the call
God damn it.
from Stuttering John.
He doesn't
Because
want
people
this shit.
Yes, but I stand by this. I stand by this is the lost step. If you sign up for Artie's Patreon, you can still sign up and pay for Artie's Patreon. Talk about a grift. And all his old podcast episodes are up there, except this one.
Okay.
This one isn't up there.
Well, that's interesting.
This was the second of back-to-back John appearances, and we always heard it was the second of the two appearances where this mysterious episode happened. But I'm sure I think you're gonna get to it, but I don't think that was even the most damning.
No, it's not. So this is what Dan tweeted out based on all you guys saying that, oh yeah, we got this from Dan. And
based on a call from John.
Yeah.
Is why this tweet came out.
No shit. So Dan Filato tweets out, this has been floating around for months. I don't know who you are, but this isn't the show that was edited. The first joke at Stuttering John I made, I remember verbatim, and rest in peace at Cotton 215 wasn't there. The only copy of that segment is in storage in New Jersey, and they have to call me to open it. So Dan, again, doubling down on the fact that is located on a hard drive or a computer somewhere. It has never been on the internet, and there's no way to get to it. That's according to Dan. Now, I have to show you, because people recently found some of John's jokes from that time that he was so proud of himself he was tweeting about. And Cardiff and I will talk about this in a second. But John can't help himself. He has to tell Artie the tweet he put out, which it never works. You're never just like, oh my God, that's so fucking funny. You're just like, ugh. So this was the tweet about Bruce Jenner. He says, congrats to my friend Bruce Jenner for having the balls to announce that he's a woman. Now, this is April of 2015. This is less than 10 years ago. I didn't know what it was so long ago. We all knew what it was, John.
Yeah,
Obama
also
hadn't banned it yet.
Right.
Not a great joke.
It's a terrible joke, but he's so proud of himself. And then these jokes, oof. So he takes that same joke, well, a slightly different joke, and he's trying to get a reaction out of all these people. So he's replying to other people's tweets and then posting the same joke over and over again. So he's saying, Bruce Jenner admits to being a woman. Soon the only keeping up with the Kardashians star left with a penis will be Khloe. And so he posts that joke. Perez Hilton. I don't even know what some of these people are. But he's just trying to get in everyone's feed, trying to get attention for himself with this hilarious. And this was the joke that he said to Artie. He goes, oh, you should hear this joke that I tweeted. And even Artie Lang goes, that's wildly offensive, John. You realize that, right? Like even Artie Lang is just like, well, that's not cool.
Yeah. When Artie Lang is taking the wind out of your sails, you should listen.
Right. In 2015 about trans people. But this is really the main point that I think people were making on Potato Soup and everywhere else is John tweeted out. Now, he told us that he told this joke to his son. His son didn't mind at the time. But he tweeted out, "I'm so stupid. When my daughter told me that she was transgender, I was like, so you're an airline?"
Smiley face.
Smiley
Old school.
face. And, it did get 3 likes. So good for John for throwing his family under the bus for his fucking hilarious Twitter timeline.
Yeah. And when that didn't happen,
no
that's when he
engagement.
became all pro everything.
Right.
It's like, yeah. All right. So this shit isn't funny, I guess.
This isn't working anymore. Oh, yeah. So, no, this is John talking about how he's PC.
And I always try to abide by what's politically correct. Maybe you'll call me a coward for that. Apparently, Tookie doesn't mind making trans jokes, and Cardiff doesn't mind, or Lady K doesn't mind, or Shitwayer's show doesn't mind. But I don't make trans jokes in 2024, nor did I in 2022 or 2020. So if you're
Name
gonna
one more year you
really
didn't make
try to make a
23.
big deal,
Was he making trans jokes in 2023?
John, you've never made a joke. You're off the hook on this one. You don't have to qualify it.
Yes.
I've never made a joke. Yeah, we know.
you're gonna really try to make a big deal, Mr. Potato, good. But that was not the tape. You lied to your audience. Dan Filato has backed it up, asked me to retweet it, because that is a bunch of horseshit, and you are a fucking lying potato.
You lied.
The worst kind of potato, by the way.
I am, but wasn't the Double Z gig wasn't that 2022?
Fruits, vegetables, and potatoes.
Wasn't it?
Yes.
He made the Bruce Jenner joke at the Double Z.
Did he?
I'm pretty sure he did.
Did he do the?
I'm 90% he did the.
He didn't do the Fruit Loops. Joke,
I am
did he?
sure no, I don't think he did the joke, but he talked about he almost back when he told the story of the joke.
He might have
didn't
done the
make the
Chloe
joke.
is the last one with the penis joke at that show.
Something.
Because he always talks about the Kardashians in every stand-up routine he does for some reason because they're so hot.
Oh, and then you got to do the joke.
But remember, guys, even though John spends 20 minutes defending himself and calling Cardiff a liar and saying, well, I've said some things, but that was a long time ago, he's not worried about it.
I am not going to sit here, and I'm not worried about it at all. I have made jokes on the Stern Show that right now would be deemed inappropriate. Jackie the Joke Man made tons. Give Rodney a chance. Remember those?
You got to love John. He goes, listen, are there things that I've said that are offensive? But Jackie did it.
Right.
Fred did it.
I'll throw myself under the bus while I grab a couple other people.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he always talks about the crabs in the bucket.
Yeah.
It's like Billy West. What about the shit that he was doing?
Fuck
huh?
you, John.
He's the worst. And also, I have to say, that joke he's talking about from Jackie, it's one of the greatest jokes. It's actually very clever and very funny. It's not just like and John likes to equate everything that's offensive just like N-word. That's what he likes to say. Is just like, well, I would never say the N-word. It's like, no one's telling you to.
Plenty of other hilarious words.
Yes, right. Of course. All right. So this is John explains that Cardiff is a liar, obviously. He said he had this lost episode. He didn't. He got super chat money from you with this grift that he had. But John is not that person at all.
I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you. What I say is always true.
All right. So based on that right there, John, see you in Vegas. Looking forward to seeing you in Vegas. You've been saying for weeks you're coming to Vegas. And then you just said you don't bullshit people. So we'll see you in Vegas, John. Looking forward to seeing you this weekend in Las Vegas. Also, when you see Dan Filato in Chicago, take a photo of that. Because you also said that you and Dan have plans in Chicago to get together for lunch and that you're staying in Chicago in a hotel. Take a photo. Love to see that. We'll see what the excuse is on that one. After saying that he doesn't lie and he's always truthful, he says this.
Douche of the Dabbleverse. Share with them your experiences and achievements in Mensa. I'm not in it anymore. So there's nothing I could share.
Oh,
that doesn't make sense.
That's how memories work.
And that was it. And it's when you're a genius like myself, it's not hard. Hicks Pasha, Good morning, shithead.
You mean you're flaccid?
Yes, it's never hard. That's definitely true.
And for those playing at home, the anymore, that was the lie.
Yes. He's still in Mensa. No, he's never been in Mensa. He admitted it. We're going back and listening to the old episodes. We'll find it. We'll find the clip where Royce goes, "You're not in Mensa." He goes, "I know, but I like to say that I am."
Coming up soon.
Yeah, so he's a fucking liar, and we all know that. And I don't know how he justifies this in his head. Well, when I say it, I'm joking or whatever. He always has a justification. He always has a rationale for it. So someone calls him out and says, "John, can you give an example of a joke you've told on the show? You keep telling everyone how funny you are, how you're the funniest guy in the Dabbleverse, and you're a writer, and you wrote all these jokes. What's one example?" So check out what he comes up with.
Underage Billy. You talk about the same people and things every fucking day, but never funny in comedy writer who never has anything funny to say about his enemies. Really? I think that I've said a lot of funny things. Just do it. Meta lives.
That was his example. So John does this thing where he's doing this impression of me when I said, "Just do it." And he goes, "Just do it." And he's like, "That's a hilarious joke." Okay. I mean, you've been doing it a lot. You must think it's funny.
It's pretty accurate.
I mean, it's spot on, which is, you know, a lot of people say, like, when you do an impression, it's not enough just to sound like the person. You also have to be funny, but not John. John goes, "I don't want to sound like them or be funny. I'm just going to repeat the thing that they said in a very different voice, and I'll do it over and over again." Good stuff. After he explains that was his big joke that he's done, check out this next super chat that comes
Funny
in.
things. Just do it. Meta lives. Thanks for ducks. F, marry, kill. Carl's mom, wife, Shuli's behemoth, Benny Local. Oh my God. That is fucking hell. I don't think I can answer that.
See, and he goes on to say, "I would just kill them all." Does no one know how F, marry, kill works anymore? Like, that's the point. The point is not for you to just be like, "Kill them all." No. F, marry, kill puts you in a spot where you got to rationalize and figure out who you're going to fuck, who you're going to marry, and who you're going to kill. Yes. That's the game.
Carl. F, marry, kill. Carl's mom, wife. Shirley's Benny Local. Go.
All right. I would obviously marry.
That's how you do it.
I'd marry my wife. I'd fuck Shuli's behemoth, and I'd kill Benny Loco. But the way she sounds, that won't be too hard. No. All right. So John is just a boring person. He just doesn't get it. He doesn't understand how these things work. But then someone else chimes in and says, "What's the last funny thing that you've said on your show, John? You always talk about how funny your show is. Let's see what he's got."
Tell us the last funny thing you said on the show. Just do it.
It's funny every time. There you go. Have at it.
Quad.
Sure is. The first time he did it, he didn't laugh, but that time he did it, he did laugh. He tickled him that time.
Yeah.
I wonder why that is. Because normally a joke gets less and less funny the more times you hear it, because you know what it is. Maybe it's because it's not a joke and it's not funny and that was a fake laugh. Is that possible?
Just do it.
And maybe Quad is pretending that it's funny because Quad just wants to be in a show and not get kicked off. I don't know. I'm just throwing these
You
ideas
think
out
that's
there.
where Quad is coming from?
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Is that a possibility that John's wildly untalented and can't come up with a single example of something he said that's witty or funny? And so his only example now is doing the "just do it" gay voice.
Also, it's the last thing that was in his head.
Right. That's all he's got.
It's very convenient.
All right. So then Quadfather is running with the Cardiff duped his viewers narrative here. And John's very concerned.
What a piece of crap that guy is, huh? Potato.
Yeah.
He looks like a piece of crap.
Because I DM'd Dan, did you ever give this tape? He goes, "No, I would never." Because he sent me a DM, "John, if the tape ever got out, you have every right to sue me." And I mean, and he says, "Copy and paste this because if I will never release that." And Cardiff knew that, but he still played it and told the audience this was the missing tape, which is kind of a grift, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Misinformation, so nobody should ever trust anything that Cardiff guy does ever again, right?
No, and Tookie too.
All right.
Tookie, why is Tookie getting shrapnel?
Cardiff, I know there's 3 potatoes on that show. Cardiff, are you giving back all of the money that you made? I think I was dishing out some memberships on that show.
Oh, yes.
I should probably get my money back too.
HEBER. Well, yours are fake, but
Mine were from Argentina, but still.
yes.
Are you going to be issuing refunds since you duped everyone?
No.
This is the most insane thing ever. Like, Cardiff's the guy who said he was going to interview the guy who punched Chad Sumac. Like, do you guys not get the fucking bit? I swear to God, every time John goes out, he's like, do you keep believe Missy B is posting things about Hitler? And Cardiff is saying that he has the missing episode. He's playing. It's just like, these are jokes. Holy shit. Have some fun in your life. Fucking morons. So stupid.
I did 3 more hours Sunday night than he did today. So,
well, he did
a 1 hour show. He did a 1 hour show today.
Why is that? Is no one watching and super chatting him?
No one was watching, and very little super chat. But no, he planned it from the beginning. He has a doctor's appointment. Perfect Health John has
Perfect Health John's back at the doctor's again. That makes sense. All right. So speaking of guys who do not get the joke and don't understand what's going on, check out this super chat.
Michael P. Thanks much. Why do you trash me? Why do you trash the rear obese frog community? What?
Oh God, he doesn't.
I don't know.
Big butt frogs. I guess that maybe that's Phil Joe the dildo. Is that who they're talking about? The frog?
That guy's the ultimate scumbag.
Holy shit. So the guy that they're talking about weighs like $110 or something like that. I don't think that's what they're talking about. They're talking about how you don't give a frog's fat ass, you idiot. You say it all the fucking time. How do you not know what he's talking about? Jesus Christ, they're stupid.
Mensa.
Yeah, I know. He's obviously smart. He proves it every time. All right. So this is them. More lies about me. This gets me very upset. I get very upset with this kind of stuff. This is slanderous. I can't have this on the internet. People talking like this about me.
This guy loves to hate me. It's weird. He loves me, but hates me. It's isn't that like everybody in the Dabbleverse? Like, you know, Lady K was a big fan of mine. You know it. He had to.
Yeah. No doubt about it, man. You could tell just like how he talks about you. Yeah, for sure.
You know, he knows everything about me. And that's why I find it so odd. Like, he could have chose the right camp and been a supporter of me. Instead, he supports Shuli. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Shuli didn't do anything on that show. PT, thanks for the tenor. You don't think the ability to make fun of ourselves and laughing at our differences helps normalize our differences? I do.
All right, so watch him squirm his way out of this one. And I'll address the stuff with I'm obviously a big fan of John in a second. But I love this super chat because John starts off his whole show with saying, like, I would never make a joke about a trans person. That's the craziest thing. I didn't know back then. I was ignorant, but that's in 2024, you can't make a joke about trans persons. So PT says, yeah, but if you're making jokes about them, then you're kind of considering them equals because we all goof on each other for all these different reasons.
Right.
You can't have something that's, South Park has done a very good job of illustrating this better than I'm doing right now. You can't have certain protected groups. It doesn't make any fucking sense. So let's see how John justifies you can't make any trans jokes.
But I do believe that saying the N-word and the F-slur, you know, for me, is not appropriate. I mean, that's just me.
Way to not address that at all.
Right.
See, this is cop out. When people go, well, John, when you say you can't make fun of trans people, you're actually saying that they're lesser than because they can't take it. Aren't they just people like us? That's what you've been saying. So shouldn't we get to make fun of them just like we make fun of Italians or guys who are club-footed? Can't you just make fun of everyone, people who stutter? And he's just like, yeah, but don't use the N-word. No one brought up the N-word here, John. Holy shit.
No, it did. But could you explain when it is appropriate? Because it sounded like he was going that way.
Yeah, right.
He's like, it's not for me, but these are the people who it's for.
Yeah, if I'm watching a Tarantino movie and I'm really into it, I feel like I'm one of the characters, then sure,
I'll deal with it.
That's fine. But also this thing where John goes, and Quad agrees, of course. Good stuff, Quad. Where he goes, obviously Carl was a big fan of mine. Oh, yeah. I remember recording, and back then we didn't have DVRs. So I had just VHS tape after VHS tape out of my VCR recording The Tonight Show. Mm-hmm. When John moved over to The Tonight Show, I'm like, I'm done with Howard Stern. Fuck that. I'm following Stuttering John Melendez on his next endeavor. Just like all the rest of the Howard Stern fans did. What a fucking miss that was by Leno. He's just like, see what we'll do here. We'll bring on Stuttering John. We'll get all these people who listen to Howard Stern. We'll be watching The Tonight Show. Wrong! No one did. The only time we ever heard John on The Tonight Show is when Howard played clips and they goofed on him for picking up his coffee mug. Jay? Look at me, I'm John.
Well, Leno didn't give a fuck.
No,
I just wanted to poke at. He had NBC money.
I understand.
Yeah.
Big Black said, when I was on Pete Taplin Live. Big Black said, I like Stuttering John. Back when he was on the show, for me, it was Howard and then Robin and then Stuttering John was my third favorite on the show. And I was thinking about it. I think I know why. Big Black's a caller. John was the call screener. He had a lot of interactions with John, and John put him through to Howard. So it's like, yeah, no, of course you like John. If you're not calling into the show every morning, then you wouldn't really know that he does anything.
Well, you have to like Howard, number one.
Yeah, but Robin, too. That makes me question everything about Big Black.
I'm thinking
right
it's
there.
just tit size.
Yeah, I'm just like, really? What did Robin ever do that was interesting?
Right.
Okay.
It's affirmative action.
If you say so, Big Black. All right, this is one more clip I have on here because this is another lie about Dan Filato, and I appreciate people pushing John on this because he's a fucking liar, and I have proof.
Hey, Nimrod, didn't you condemn Dan Filato as an enabler until you found out he was recording you trashing kids? No. Dan and I discussed this. It was the different Dan. I mistook Dan Filato for the other Dan that was getting him the drugs. And when Dan told that to me,
Dan.
I apologized profusely to him, said, I'm so sorry. And Dan and I rekindled our friendship.
Okay, so John just said right there, he goes, when I was saying Dan Filato was Dan the enabler, I was mistaking him as his drug dealer. Now, Dan Filato was the producer of the Artie Lang show, and John saw him every time he was on the Artie Lang show. So it's weird that he would misrepresent two different Dans, one who's a drug dealer and one who's producing the show. Also, the drug dealer is an enabler. You wouldn't even say the word enabler if you were talking about a drug dealer.
No.
But let's go back to a clip that I just played on this recent bonus show we did, Living in the Past with Stuttering John.
A bullying fat fuck Artie Lang, just bullying me with fucking Russman Eve sitting there and fucking, who's the other enabler? Dan the enabler, fucking what's his name? Dan Filato, who still enables the fat fuck.
Wait a second, John. It doesn't sound like you're talking about a drug dealer here. It sounds like you're talking about the guy who was sitting there on the podcasts producing the show.
Yeah, whoever's near gets shrapnel.
Right. So, John, you're a fucking liar.
I don't know. But Artie started. I knew as soon as he started with Anthony, it was just going to be fucking let's beat up on Stuttering John.
All right. So then I goes into the... For some reason, Artie Lang just wanted to corrupt everybody into thinking that John's not that funny of a guy. If it weren't for Artie Lang telling people this, they don't know how talented I was. Because if there's one thing I know about Anthony Cumia, he can't form his own opinion on something. Anthony has to go to other people and go, who do I like? Who do I not like? Who's funny? Who's not funny? That's fucking Chad Zumach thinking. Chad's like, well, I don't know. I mean, I was told to go after Chrissy Mayer. Kevin Brennan told me not to like her, so I didn't like her. You're a fucking loser.
I was following orders.
Yeah, like that's never a good defense.
Artie's podcast.